All right, I'm trying it another way. Let's see how this works. Happy Monday again. In case you missed my earlier Happy Monday. I'm here as usual just to check in with my own body, give myself a little movement, a little love, invite you to join me if you feel like it, and remind you that you are worthy of your own unconditional love first, foremost, always, and in all ways. I'm going to take a couple of breaths just to bring my awareness into the bottoms of my shoe-clad feet. Remind you that you don't need any special equipment, any special area, any special knowledge or movement. My technical difficulties are going to continue to challenge me over here because that's the kind of technical things they are, right? Anyway, speaking of technical difficulties, I've got elastic safety pinned onto my face covering here. I was trying to get hung up in my hair. Is that a first world problem? Probably. Taking a couple breaths just to bring my awareness into the bottoms of my feet and connect myself to the center of the earth, connect myself to the center of the universe, fill my cells with love and lightheartedness. Letting go of the past like it was the past and making room for the present. Let's start with just a little bit of balancing, I think, because that is what I feel like doing. So bringing the left knee up toward the left shoulder. This can be done laying down. It's not so easy sitting. It's best standing if you want to get the balancing practice. I'm going to add a little foot rotation here. My ankles are kind of stiff today, and then I'm going to bring that up a little bit higher. Checking in with the spine, making sure that supporting leg is nice and relaxed, and tilting the pelvis forward a little bit. Instead of that would be backwards, forwards, and making sure those shoulders are nice and relaxed. Remembering to breathe and smile. I'm going to reach for the bottom of this foot and bring that leg out as straight as possible for a nice stretch in the leg. And push those toes and get a nice stretch through those shoulders, and then pull back into a straight back, pulling those toes back. I'm going to use this wall a little bit for support. I encourage you, if you're doing this, to do it near a doorway or a wall so you can get support for yourself when you need it. Give yourself support when you need it. It's good advice in all kinds of situations. I'm going to press this dirty shoe onto my clean shorts here right now on my inner thigh and practice a little more balancing. Again, checking in with the spine, with the pelvis, with the shoulders, with the supporting leg. Putting that down and stomping it out a little bit. And then I'm going to bring this right knee up toward right shoulder. Give that ankle a little rotation in one direction and then the other direction. Don't forget to breathe and smile all the while. Bringing up that knee a little higher and tilting the pelvis forward, making sure that knee is not locked. Trying to be long and strong through the abdomen and the spine. And I'm going to reach for the bottom of that foot, straighten that leg as straight as possible. I'm going to push with those toes, get a nice kind of stretch through the shoulder, and then pull back through those toes, lengthening the spine and the abdomen, getting a nice stretch through that leg, and a little balancing. I might hit the wall here. I'm going to try to I can actually go straighter off to the side than to the forward, getting a nice stretch through that leg. And then setting that leg up close to the groin. I'm still thinking about my dirty shoe there. I did go step in some mud with my shoes just a bit ago, because that's the kind of girl I am. I do recommend stepping in mud fairly often. It's good for the feet and good for the spirit. That's my unsolicited advice for today. Just go ahead and step in some mud. Come on now. Get some on you. Setting that foot down. I'm going to shake out these hands. I'm going to do a little wrist rotation while I'm thinking of it. I got plenty of stiffness to go around. Let's go the other way. Trying to add some finger articulation in there. Just exploring how the body is today. Let's kind of add some circles from the elbows. I got lots of elbow stiffness. And then going the other way. And then I'm going to make those big arm circles. Try not to run into the wall here. Slowing that down a little bit just so I can really explore, again, where there's stiffness, what feels good in the body, where there's stagnation that wants to get let loose. Coming the other way with those circles. Still running into the wall. I can tilt me, but not you. I got a curving wall here in case you didn't know. That's why I'm running in. Let's tone that back down to just shoulder circles. And the other way. Alright, shaking that out. I'm going to go ahead and add a little forward folding, rolling down. Just kind of checking in with the spine nice and slow, trying to check in with each vertebra one at a time. Coming through past the waist and all the way down to the hips. I'm going to hang here from the hips for a breath or two. Just letting the spine lengthen toward the earth with gravity. Just, again, I'm really trying to focus on just kind of hanging my spine from the hips here. Get a nice elongating sensation. And then for contrast, I'm going to come up and give myself a hug, pulling up in the waist, pulling up in the pelvic floor, rounding the back, left elbow over right first. I'm going to pull those shoulder blades apart. Give myself a nice hug and a nice stretch. Rounding the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the pelvis. Really pulling up. It's a nice little strengthening move as well. And then releasing all that back down toward the floor from the hips. Coming up this time, right elbow over left. Again, give myself a nice hug. Pulling up in the pelvic floor, back with the abdomen, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. Really getting a nice pulling in, rounding sensation. And then relaxing all that from the hips again. Releasing that to the floor. And I'm going to roll up one vertebra at a time. Just letting the arms dangle. And stacking each spinal process on the next. Checking in to see where there's fluidity and suppleness and where there's stagnation and stuckness, and loving all of it. Love yourself anyway. I'm going to do just a little bit of twisting here because I feel like it. Just shake that out. Let's run through some little bit more lower body stretching. I'm going to step back with the left foot first because that's how I always do, just so I can remember. There's really no other reason than that. And first focusing on both hips facing forward, so my feet are in parallel. I have my back heel off the ground, but I'm pushing toward the ground with that back heel. But again, keeping my feet in parallel, trying to focus on pulling this back hip forward, staying nice and long and strong through the abdomen and the spine, working together. Pull up in the pelvic floor a little bit. Remember to breathe and smile. I'm going to bring those arms up to a nice warrior pose. And then I'm going to shift that back heel toward the floor, but I'm going to still pull this hip forward at first, so you get kind of a nice torque through that back leg. And then I'm going to open that hip, shifting that heel a little more to the side plane, looking for like a plane right here, pulling this knee wide, pulling this hip open, still nice and long and strong through the abdomen and pulling up in the pelvic floor. And then I'm going to bend from the hip again, bringing this hand down on the inside of that leg. I'm going to have to slide that leg back just a little bit and bringing the left hand up to gaze past the fingertips. I see there's some commotion going on over there. It's good to see some of you out there. Hi, how are ya? Happy Monday! Looking now for that diagonal line. I slid that back heel out a little further and imagining a straight line running through that heel and out my fingertips. You can imagine that still connecting into the earth and the atmosphere somewhere. Well, it gets a little trickier for me with my whole rooted to the center sensation. It's a good thing to notice. I will examine that. Bringing this left arm down on the inside of that right leg, just deepening that lunge a little bit. Then we'll bring that front leg back to meet the back leg, pressing back into a triangle or tent or downward facing dog. I'm going to tread those heels a little bit to get a nice stretch through those legs. Keep those fingers wide and nice hands pressed on the floor, pressing the heart toward the center of the earth and tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. More How to Speak with Angel coming to a Facebook live stream near you soon. Swinging those hips forward now into a nice little cobra type position. Hi, kitty. I'm just trying not to sink in those elbows, stay nice and strong through the chest, and then letting that tummy just kind of drop, keeping those legs pulled together. Safi's looking for, where is the attention? Is it right here? I think so. And pulling those hips back up and pressing back. And then swinging that left leg forward in between the hands into a nice deep lunge. I like to bounce. Bounce if it feels good. Don't bounce if you don't like to bounce. Some more unsolicited advice for you. Stepping forward with that back foot. I'm going to roll up. I'm going to tilt this way just for variation. Roll up again, one vertebra at a time, just checking in with the spine again. This time I'm going to swing the arms back. I turned the wrong way for that, didn't I? I'll use this wall to just kind of add a little counter stretch. If you don't have a wall, you can just do it without the wall in your way. And then I'm going to step back with the right foot into a nice forward lunge. Again, focusing on both hips, facing forward. I'm keeping my feet parallel. And right now I have that back heel off the ground, pressing toward the ground. Nice and long and strong through the abdomen and the spine, pulling up in the pelvic floor. Nice and relaxed in the shoulders. Bringing those arms up overhead. Again, trying to make sure that they're not crunching up. Setting that back heel down and remaining, keeping that hip torquing forward. Just looking for a little bit more stability and strength in that warrior pose. And then I'm going to shift that back heel to open the hip. Looking for the side plane here. Pulling this knee open and this hip open. Still staying nice and long and strong in the abdomen and the spine. Not lining my hands up, so that's where mirrors and cameras come in handy, and eyes. Use those to kind of check the lines. And then I'm going to fold from the hip again into a nice side triangle, sliding that back heel out a little bit, and bringing my gaze up past my right fingertips. Making sure to not collapse in the supporting hand, so I'm just using my arm against my leg there, again for some torque and stability. And then I'm going to slide that heel out a little more and look for that diagonal line from the heel of the fingertips. Bringing that hand down on the inside of the leg for a nice deeper lunge. And then bringing that front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing into downward facing dog. I'm going to bend that left knee a little bit, pressing into the right hip. And then bend the right knee, pressing into the left hip. Do that one more time on each side, pressing into the left hip. Pressing that, rather that's the right hip, sorry. Pressing the right heel down. Bending now the right knee, pressing the left heel down, pressing into the left hip. And then pressing both heels down. Fingertips wide, pressing the heart toward the center of the earth. Tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. And then I'm going to swing forward into a plank position. Kind of nice and strong. Try to get my hands about shoulder width apart. Still nice and wide fingers for stability. Pulling up in the pelvic floor and up in the abdomen now. Keeping the elbows in close to the body. I'm going to go down nice and slow for one slow push-up. The slower the better. Down and then hover here for a breath. And then pushing up nice and slow. It's my one push-up a day. Pressing back. I don't even do one every day. So I used to do more push-ups, and maybe I'll get back to it. We will see. Stepping forward with that right foot in between the hands into one more deep lunge. Hi, messy hair. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. Yes, I talk to my hair, and it talks back to me. That's where we're at. Back into a forward fold. Letting that hair just relax a little bit. Okay, hair, perfect. Let's use the hair a little bit to pull on the head, give a little extra stretch through the spine. And I'm actually going to bend the legs and come back up into a little counter stretch. Back bend, and then back forward. Gosh, it's getting warm in here. I think I'm going to get to some other things. Add a little hip sway. Do feel like I need more side and twisty motion, so maybe I'll end with just a little of that. There's not room in here to do qigong, so I won't bother to try. Just do this as a nice little freeing sort of qigong-ish move. Qigong to me just means like moving the energy, although it actually means lots of other things too. But it's a therapeutic way of moving energy. Let's go with that today. Anyway, I hope you're finding ways to manage stress, to keep yourself healthy and happy, calm, cool, and collected. Shout out to my friend Monica out there, whose birthday it is. Send her a happy birthday if you think of it. I'm wishing you lightheartedness, love, and playfulness. It's good to see you out there. Ciao for now.